So the conventional wisdom around this question is that it's totally fine, it's normal, it's acceptable for married couples. Everyone's doing it. Married couples to watch porn together or to do that. Apart from that, assuming that your couple is okay with it and your spouse, in this case, I'm talking to men. If your wife is totally on board with pornography and it's fine and she's cool with it and maybe even you're doing it together, the question still is it's destructive, and is it actually okay to watch porn as a couple or within your marriage? Even in that case, if you are constantly being stimulated and exposed to hardcore pornography, ever growing, ever new, novel pornography all the time, beautiful women, beautiful men, all the time, constantly throughout your marriage, and if you're constantly being overstimulated by that, you will see your spouse less and less attractive over time, and vice versa. And you will, over time, if this hasn't happened already, be unable to be aroused by a human being, a physical person, because you're so overly sexually aroused by pornographic material that you can't even have an erection or keep an erection, which is why one of the most common results or causes of erectile dysfunction right now is because of overstimulation through pornography and through masturbating, that we can't even be aroused and attracted to your spouse. So apart from that, ask yourself honestly, do you want to be in a relationship where you're constantly needing to use pornography as a way to be aroused, to be attracted to your spouse? Or would you rather just be able to look at your spouse in the eyes, look at your wife in the eyes, look at her body, regardless of her weight or size or whatever, her shape, and just be attracted to that? And just be able to be aroused sexually by that? Isn't that beautiful? Don't you just want that? So that's just one way that a porn habit can be very, very destructive to a relationship. Even if both parties, both individuals in the relationship, the husband and wife, are in agreement and don't really think it's a big deal, it can be extremely detrimental to the actual sexual relationship and arousal and attraction to the partner. And it gets more and more challenging, more and more deep as time goes on and as the addiction gets bigger and bigger. But more common than both people being in agreement is that one of the spouse, usually the husband, I'm talking to husbands right now, is addicted to porn in secrecy, and the spouse doesn't know about it or recently found out about it, or doesn't know how to deal with it. And if you're in that situation, it's a lot more detrimental for two very important reasons. Number one is trust. Now, this is probably the cheesiest thing in the world to say, but trust is the foundation, the building block for any successful relationship. Any successful marriage is based on trust. So if you are secretly watching porn, if you are secretly indulging yourself before fulfilling your wife sexually, then you are actually degrading the trust in the relationship, whether you know it or not, especially when it comes out, especially when they find out, you're degrading the relationship. And not only that, even if, let's say for a second, that you were able to maintain your habit in secrecy and without your spouse ever finding out, the effects on, like I've just discussed, the effects of your porn habit on your spouse, on your relationship, are detrimental. You will not be able to be aroused by your spouse. You will not be able to see your spouse as just the beautiful human being, the person with infinite value that they already are. Instead, you will constantly be comparing them to women on a screen, things that you watched online, and you'll never be able to be fully satisfied by them. Ask yourself this: do you think you can honestly ever truly love your wife? Could you really ever just 100% love them for everything they are if you're keeping this habit with you? And the answer to that is no, you can't. You can't maintain a truly loving relationship that's filled with trust and transparency if you have a secret that you're always going back to. And that's the number one thing, is trust. Is you cannot build trust on the foundation of secrecy and a porn habit and addiction. The second very important thing that is affecting your relationship through porn use, if you're married, is that you're using pornography as an emotional crutch, is what I call it. If you're using pornography as an emotional crutch, then it is a problem, and then it is something that is worth addressing. An emotional crutch is something that you go to, usually pornography, is you go to it in times of difficulty, in times of stress, in times of negative emotions that you don't know how to deal with, so you escape to the old friend, the crutch, the support system of pornography as a way to escape those feelings because you don't know how to deal with them, right? If you honestly ask yourself the last time that you slipped up, you acted out, you watched porn, what led to that? What triggers led to that scenario and that situation? Most of the time, what I've experienced in my life and also with the hundreds of men that I work with is almost always those triggers are led by negative emotions, particularly stress, anger, depression, disappointment, arguing with a wife in particular. When you're experiencing those emotions and you don't know how to you never learned how to deal with it in a productive and proactive way, then you use pornography as a way to escape from this emotion of feeling angry to immediately being relaxed and calm and being able to escape those emotions temporarily. It's an instant transition. If you go on your phone or your computer and you're able to watch pornography, it's an instant transition from negative emotion to just relax and escapism, right? So this is the huge problem with pornography or any addiction, which is why husbands typically are way more susceptible to addiction through compulsive video game use, through alcohol, through drug abuse, pornography, is that generally speaking, men do not know how to deal with emotions, and we find emotional crutches to fill those voids, to fill those emotions and stress, anxiety, whatever it is, in order to escape them, in order to feel a level of comfort. And that's what pornography does very well. And if that's the situation that you're in, it is very, very detrimental because you never know how to deal with anger, for example, and anger will always come out in some way. Either you'll just leave the room and go watch porn, or you'll just blow up in anger. And if you're never able to hone in on those relationships and have control over them, over those emotions, then you will always be in a survival state in your marriage. You will always be in a dying state in your marriage. You will never be able to thrive if you don't have a grasp on your relationships and your relationship with your emotions, and understanding your emotions and being able to have introspection and self-awareness of how you're doing and what leads you down the road to eventually watching porn and acting out. So I want to challenge you guys to really find a way to every day to journal, to have daily discipline, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I found that 20 minutes is a really effective time period. It just takes 20 minutes to internalize, have introspection, reflect, self-reflect, have self-awareness, journal even, talk to somebody, record a video of yourself and send it to a friend of yours, or talk to your spouse. Like, your spouse is right there. Talk to them and share, like, I was feeling really angry today because of something that happened at work. So I was stressed out. I really wanted to watch porn, but I decided instead I wanted to talk to you about it. That's building trust, guys. That is the secret sauce. That is the secret sauce that I'm talking about. And that's how, with so many guys that I've worked with, are finding ways, and I did myself, is using their negative emotions, turning it into a productive conversation and learning from this experience and never acting out again. That's the secret sauce right there. So I'm going to answer this question from my own experience. Is it okay to have a porn habit while I'm married? I had an ongoing relationship with porn for a while. In the beginning of our marriage, we've been married for almost 11 years now. And in the beginning, it was something that really hit me strongly. I was clean from porn for, before we were married for a number of years, and I really was on top of it. And soon after we were married, we started getting to arguments, and stresses of life and work, etc., started coming in our way. And I acted out. I had strong urges to slip up again, and it was a very challenging time. I didn't tell my wife for a long time, and the result of doing that was that we had a very, very lackluster sexual relationship. Basically, I was fulfilling myself sexually and thinking first about myself, thinking first about my own sexual desires, and not thinking about hers. And that is a recipe for disaster. That is poison to a relationship. Self-centered sexualization, self-centered sexual thoughts and actions for my own desires before hers. The result is, at the end of the day, when she was ever feeling a desire to make love, I wasn't there for her. I wasn't there because I was already satisfied myself, very temporarily, very superficially satisfying my own needs for sexuality through pornography. And on top of that, the secrecy, the mistrust, and the just agitation all the time. If you've ever had an addiction, like I've talked about, the emotional crutch, when you remove that crutch, when you don't have pornography every day or every other day, you get agitated, you get angry, you get frustrated at your spouse especially, you blame everything on the other person. That is destructive to a relationship. And to see my wife, feeling the repercussions of this relationship, of my anger, and being on the receiving end of my anger and frustration and my negative emotions, is detrimental. And she just feels like it's her fault. When in reality, it's just an addiction, and it's an emotional need that I never met and never found a way to deal with in my own life. And it wasn't until I decided to get serious about it, it wasn't until I decided to get help. And I reached out to someone that I love, somebody that I respect and trust, a brother, a good friend of mine. I said, hey, I need some accountability. Could you help me out? I need to every day report to you and let you know how I'm doing emotionally in regards to my porn habit and my sexual integrity. And he said, sure. And from there, it was I don't want to say a piece of cake, but it was infinitely more easy because I was serious enough to reach out for help. And that's what I'm teaching guys how to do, especially through this channel and through the work that I do. So feel free to check out the other videos here on this YouTube channel, and also smash the like button for this video. If you found this video helpful at all, valuable, then go ahead and give it a like, because it does help more people find it. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is just help reach out to more people, all right? Just like you and just like me, all right? Thanks for watching. Take care.